Given the challenges that Microsoft faced with the Xbox One, it's safe to say that the Xbox Series X has had a much better first year. While the studio's biggest first-party exclusives are still to come, and many more likely won't be seen for years to come, we've received a fairly diverse and fun range of titles in the past year. There's also no downplaying Xbox Game Pass, which has both lowered the barrier of entry for so many new experiences and provided incredible value. Without further ado, let's take a look back at 20 of the best Xbox Series X titles since the console's launch. Halo Infinite. 2021 has been a year of recovery for Halo Infinite, and while there's no shortage of excitement surrounding the game right now, a year ago the situation looked much more dire. The shooter's single-player campaign's reveal back in 2020 was met with widespread criticism, in particular for its visuals and technical issues, with the backlash being so strong that Microsoft ended up deciding to delay the game by a whole year. And now, while much can be said about Halo Infinite's multiplayer progression, the gameplay is simply exquisite. It plays like the perfect mix of Halo's classic gunplay and movement combined with solid power-ups that aren't overbearing and weapon balance. Map design ranges from good to great, and the extensive polish is a sight to behold in light of the competition. Halo Infinite's multiplayer is already top-notch, and the campaign is pretty great too. Psychonauts 2. Double Fine has had a long journey with Psychonauts 2, but it's paid off well. Raz's journey into a full-fledged Psychonaut, investigating the strange happenings at Psychonauts HQ, is backed by some intriguing characters and incredible mental worlds, with each having their own unique hooks and gorgeous visual design. The platforming itself is decidedly old school, but the pacing and sheer breadth of incredible sights makes for a fun experience. Death's Door. Taking ample inspiration from The Legend of Zelda, Death's Door is about a crow who collects souls as a reaper. When an animal's soul is stolen, the crow embarks on a journey to raid 3 large dungeons in distant lands to open the mythical Death's Door. There's a decent bit of challenge to the experience, backed by solid hack-and-slash combat, exploration, and puzzle solving that makes exploring each nook and cranny of the map worthwhile. Whether you're ascending a snow-covered mountain or defeating hordes of pot creatures, Death's Door offers a vivid fantasy with incredible music and character. Tetris Effect Connected. The best puzzle game of all time gets weirder in Tetris Effect, with Connected being the very peak of its synesthesia-induced visuals. In addition, with the extensive single-player and over 10 additional modes from the base game, there's a new cooperative mode that allows for up to 3 players to team up against a boss, along with a competitive mode more in line with classic Tetris. If nothing else, it's worth playing just to see how utterly gorgeous the particle effects look in 4K and 60 frames per second. Gears Tactics. Originally released for PC, Gears Tactics was ported over to Xbox platforms just in time for the Xbox Series X's launch. The tactical, turn-based shooter imbibes the spirit of Gears of War with mechanics like destroying emergence holes, executing downed foes for action points, and of course, taking cover. With 5 classes, extensive customization, and plenty of side content, there was already plenty of genre fans. However, even more was added with deviant enemies, supreme weapon mods, and Jack as a new playable character. Gears 5. While Gears of War 4 was a proper sequel, it felt more like a careful balancing act for the Coalition, paying homage to the older titles while slowly advancing forward. Gears 5 feels like a proper new beginning, focusing on Kate as she unravels the mystery of her heritage, while also dealing with the overwhelming swarm. Along with the excellent cover-based shooting, the sequel offered more open environments with ample side objectives to explore. These offered materials that could upgrade Jack, who is a much more valuable asset with abilities like shocking foes, stuns, and healing. With massively improved visuals on Xbox Series X, including screen space global illumination and variable rate shading, it's the best platform to play on. Lost Judgment. Everyone's favorite lawyer-turned-private investigator Takayuki Yagami is perhaps in his final adventure. After being confronted with an impossible murder, Yagami travels to Iziaki, Ijincho in Yokohama to investigate Sario High School. While various new school stories and activities like dancing, boxing, and skateboarding have been added, there's plenty of investigation, sneaking, and combat to be had over an extensive new story. And if that's not enough, there are heaps of retro titles to experience, from arcade titles like Sonic the Fighters and Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown to Sega Master System games like Penguin Land and Fantasy Zone. Lake by developer GamingBolt is a decidedly different experience. It focuses on Meredith Weiss, who takes a break from her job in the city to deliver mail in her hometown of Providence Oaks, along with driving around in a mail truck. Taking in the sights and seeing how much has changed, Meredith can also interact with her friends after work or just stay home with a good book. Ultimately, a decision has to be made on whether she'll stay or go back, but Lake is more about appreciating the moments as they come. Not the most intensive experience for sure, but it's laid back and relatively chill overall. The Ascent. In the futuristic world of Velez, the Ascent group's sudden disappearance leads to its arcology falling into chaos. Going from indentured worker to full-time fighter, the Ascent sees players battling against syndicates, rival corporations, and other groups as chaos reigns. Gameplay takes place from the isometric perspective, blending cover with twin-stick shooting and action RPG-esque upgrades and abilities. The visuals are simply breathtaking to behold, and while the level scaling can be somewhat weird, the sheer chaos of co-op makes the experience a blast. HELLBLADE: SENUA'S Sacrifice. We're still a ways off from beginning Senua's saga in HELLBLADE 2. However, the Xbox Series X has undoubtedly become the definitive console to enjoy HELLBLADE: Senua's Sacrifice, along with a performance mode at 1080p and 120 frames and resolution mode for dynamic 4K at 60 frames per second. There's enriched mode with dynamic 4K 30 frames per second with ray tracing enabled. This is in addition to improved visuals, draw distance, particle quality, and more. Of course, in terms of gameplay, the tale of Senua venturing to Helheim and battling the demons of her past to revive her lover is definitely worth experiencing. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. No conversation about stellar Metroidvania titles is complete without mentioning Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The signature gameplay loop with challenging platforming and backtracking is made even better thanks to the revamped visuals, a new checkpoint system, and new melee combat that makes for a much more compelling experience. Along with 4K 120 frames per second, it also offers a dazzling 6K 60 frames per second mode thanks to super sampling, which only makes the visuals look even better. Halo: The Master Chief Collection. When Halo: The Master Chief Collection launched, it was almost broken beyond repair. 343 Industries didn't give up on it though, implementing massive improvements while porting it to PC and eventually updating it for the Series X. This means a field of view slider, 4K resolution at 60 or 120 Hz, including 4-player split screen and 60 frames per second, HDR, and support for quick resume and smart delivery, along with graphics settings on par with the PC version. With the sheer amount of content on offer, 6 games with new multiplayer maps and cosmetics added over time, Halo: The Master Chief Collection now stands as one of the best remastered compilations yet. Forza Horizon 5. To say that Playground Games knocked it out of the park with Forza Horizon 5 would be an understatement. With over 10 million players in the first week, thanks in no small part to Game Pass, the open-world racing sim has garnered acclaim for its extensive scale and gorgeous visuals. Along with providing a range of fun races and incredible showcase events, Forza Horizon 5 leans more into car collecting, customization, and racing the way you want, via dedicated Horizon festivals for major race types. This isn't even getting into the weekly seasonal content or incredible environments that Mexico has to offer. The Medium. While not the strongest Xbox Series X title on this list, The Medium does serve as Bloober Team's best yet. As Marianne, players venture into an abandoned resort to solve the mystery of a massacre and are caught up in a tense game of survival against a force known as the Maw. The spiritual aspects of the gameplay are manifested via the dual reality mechanic, which essentially offers 2 different realms to explore simultaneously thanks to Marianne's psychic powers. It's an intriguing mix of puzzle-solving, exploration, and horror, with music by the legendary Akira Yamaoka, not quite the Silent Hill successor we've been waiting for, but still compelling enough on its own. Hades. Hades is the complete package in so many different ways that it's incredible. The roguelite action, from the responsive combat and weapons, to the sheer number of boon combinations is already excellent. The presentation, from the gorgeous 2D visuals to the rockin' soundtrack, are also stellar, but the unforgettable characterization and the masterful way it handles story progression, making what would be a simple tale of rebellion into a nuanced saga of family, is truly amazing. Even if roguelites aren't your thing, Hades warrants a closer look. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on GamingBolt.